It's time for us to get environmental and environmentally sound this morning. Seth Elsen on the air. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, and how are you?
Doing well. Just staying busy here as we close out November and get ready to go into December. And you'd think we'd be slowing down, but it just keeps going.
Just keeps getting busier and busier. Talk to me first a little bit about all this rain we're having, and is it having any impact on the fish up there? Or
Yeah, so rain does a lot of things for fish. It can be really good in certain amounts. You know, a lot of fish respond and move upstream and out of the estuaries when they're coming back with rain and the tide change. But we also have a problem around here with too much rain. So I'm sure everybody's pretty familiar with the fish crossing the Skokomish River. We see it on the news every year, and
classic B-roll there of the fish.
Exactly. It's kind of cool to see in one regard, but also what's happening there is that our floodplain has been developed, and those fish are going to get stranded in those fields eventually as the waters recede. And so, but one of the other big impacts that I want to talk about is stormwater, and it's something that we've got an issue all around Hood Canal here in Shelton and Belfair as well. Is just we've developed so many of our areas along the waterfront and our streams, and it's just leading to more of our stormwater winding up in our waterways and impacting our fish and shellfish.
How are the pushes and efforts that folks are making along the Hood Canal at their homes and residences? And I know that when we have increased traffic and cars, and that all kind of gets in there as well. But we've seen a big push over the years, and it has gotten better though.
Yeah, it definitely has. A lot of our partners in our organization, we've been working really closely with landowners one-on-one to help them do things that are more environmentally friendly. So a lot of examples revolve around landscaping, the way that people landscape in terms of having native plantings and things like that along the shoreline, minimizing the concrete that they have, creating rain gardens. A lot of landowners are doing those things, and it's starting to really help reduce that runoff that we have.
What are some things that can be done or that have been done on just the cement here, so we're not able to change the landscape so much?
Yeah, certainly. Like I said, a lot of businesses too around Shelton and Belfair are putting in rain gardens, so even something small like that. Some businesses are changing the type of concrete they use that allows for some infiltration of that water in. But even just something basic like picking up your dog's poop or things like that. Our pet waste is one of our biggest contributors to our bacteria in our water. And so if that's left out and we have a lot of rain come down, that can carry it into a storm drain or depending on where you live, actually directly into the stream. And then what we see from that is, as a result, is our closure of our shellfish harvest.
Is that anything to do with like the diet of the dog, or is that just because I imagine, out in nature, there's deer and elk and all those things, and they're using the facilities.
Yeah, it's a mix of things, and so it's a little bit of what they eat, but it's also just the fact that it's fecal coliform and just that bacteria going directly in, and so something as basic as that, where you wash your car, all of those things can have an impact. And we create a really cool website. If you go to myhoodcanal.org, you can actually check out just kind of a few ways that you can kind of help in our effort to try to reduce stormwater and help our salmon and shellfish and our water quality in general. And if you've got questions, it's got a great list of who to contact depending on where you are in the county, but a really great asset.
Do you get a sense that the people not living along the water are taking this advice to heed as well and doing things to help improve the situation, even if they're up in the mountains or somewhere else?
Yeah, I think so. A great example here in town, in Shelton, Olympia, other places, something that's pretty common is you'll see along storm drains it says drains to stream, and it's got a salmon stencil imprint, and just a small thing like that helps to raise awareness that what you're doing in town here, even if you're not near a stream, that goes directly into it. And I think similarly, if you're living higher up in the hills, people are starting to get a better grasp of the fact that you're higher up in the stream, so what you do there is going to impact everybody downstream. And that's something we see in our knotweed control efforts, where we really make an effort with our upstream landowners to try to control their invasive weeds, just because if we can't do that, it kind of negates a lot of our efforts downstream.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, it's a whole system.
Are the salmon done with all their runs and everything? Is there still a place or to see them? Kennedy Creek or anything?
We're starting to wind down pretty good. As far as I know, fall chum are still coming up there in Kennedy Creek. You'll see people fishing there, and so it's probably a good good place to still go. Johns Creek's probably still getting a few, and we've had some still coming up Mission Creek up in Belfair.
Yeah.
And so there's still a couple spots, but our fall chum are definitely starting to wind down. But one of the greatest years that we've seen for fall chum in a long time.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of carcasses, and we'll continue to probably for a few more weeks here.
So what happens with the carcass now? How does that help with the ecosystem?
Yeah, so the carcasses actually do a lot of things. They're great for us because we can sample them and we can figure out the age of a fish, things like that from it. But it's also great in terms of providing a food source for a lot of our terrestrial wildlife. So things like our deer, elk, bear, on a lot of our rivers throughout the canal depend on those food sources coming back. But then one of the other really important things is as the carcasses form up along the riverbank, they start to decompose, and they all contain these great marine-derived nutrients. So these fish have been out at sea for 2, 3, 4 years, eating all this great marine food, and then bringing back those nutrients in their carcasses. And so as that decomposes into the soils, it really helps to enrich the ecosystem there. And so we see, great growth in our nice green vegetation and trees, and all of that is fueled by those nutrients that those carcasses bring. So it's really important for our streams to have those.
What do you guys do during the holidays?
We just keep working, and usually, our field season is wrapped up, and so during the holiday time, we're starting our grant writing process to try to get money for the next year's projects.
Okay, so people are encouraged to start thinking ahead to next year. Volunteer opportunities before
Certainly.
you know it, it'll be available. And anything else going on up there?
Yeah, so one effort we've got going on right now is we wrap down the end of the year. It's always a great time to, if you got the resources to try to help out your local nonprofit. Today's Giving Tuesday.
Yep.
So it's a really great chance for whatever nonprofit you support. And we're part of 2 efforts right now of crowdfunding. If you go to pnwsalmoncenter.org/crowdfund, we've got 2 links up there, and one's through the Community Foundation of South Puget Sound, and we're trying to expand our really popular Salmon in the Classroom program.
Yeah.
Last year, with some great community support, we were able to expand to the Shelton School District and Pioneer, and this year we're expanding to Grapeview and Southside. And so to help make that happen, we're trying to raise another $1,000 or $1,500, and so we'll be doing that for the next 2.5 weeks or so. So definitely ask everyone to check it out, but also just in general support your local nonprofit. We're your neighbors. We're trying to do everything we can to help out the community, and we rely on volunteers, donors, and anyone to get involved.
He's from the Salmon Center. It's Seth Elsen. It's always good talking with you.
Same to you. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good one.